Hey everybody, welcome back to Gfn Stuff. Today I've got a review of this knife here. This is the Camillus Rain. Before we get into that, a couple of words on the background. So I moved into my new place and I was given this desk by a friend, and as you can see it has like this it has this reflective glass surface, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out for reviews. Definitely for this knife here that's all black. This looks kind of off. Don't worry, you know, when we tilt up for the review section, it'll probably look a little bit better. And then of course we've got the review cutting to get to, but you know, it kind of washes this out. We will be putting a couple of more colorful knives out here on the table in a little bit for the size comparison, so you know, we'll see how that works. I've been experimenting a lot with lighting and positioning right now, and I think I've got all of that stuff figured out, but yeah, I'm not sure what I think about the actual surface here. Not only is it just black, which, you know, makes black on black knives hard to see, but it's also reflective. You can see my hand there, so let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the surface. We'll see how it works for this review. And yeah, like I said, I'll be putting some other knives out here just a little bit so we can see what those look like. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and get to our blade length measurement. We're coming in here about, let's see, if we go sharpened edge only, pretty much exactly 3 inches. If we go all the way back here, a little bit over 3 1/4. So not a large knife, but not a small knife. It's pretty medium size. Let's go ahead and get our size comparisons out. Let's start with our Rat Model 1. Pretty similar in size. The Rain is a little bit larger. And here is our Rat Model 2. There we go. Next up, let's grab our Civivis. Oh, you know, today's a special occasion. It's a momentous video, a mile marker. We're going to be retiring the Elementum that you guys have seen on this channel since pretty much day one. It's time to retire him and bring out our new Elementum size comparison knife. There we go. Yeah, see, that stands out pretty good against the black, doesn't it? But there's that. Here's the Praxis. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, our American-made size comparisons. Spacing here, guys. There's the PM2. Also, I will see if I can maybe brighten this up a little bit in the editing, and we'll see how that looks. I don't know. But yeah, there's the bug out. Very similar in size to the bug out, as honestly a lot of knives are, I've noticed. And to wrap up size comparisons here, let's bring out a couple Camillus knives. Here's the Defy. Definitely check out the review of that knife if you have not seen it. And here is the Dominator 2. So yeah, awesome. Alrighty, what are we looking at for our materials? Well, we have a very nice, focus up camera, focus up. Why is this not working? We have a very nice spear point, drop point blade of 420 steel with a hollow grind, and we have Gfn handle scales with a steel pocket clip. Nothing amazing for the materials, but this is a $15 knife. Oh, and it also has Camillus' special CUDA lock. So, or not lock, but opening mechanism. Alrighty, with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the review cutting, finally. Alrighty guys, so I am on my way to do the review cutting, maybe, for the Camillus Rain. I say maybe because I got off work a little bit ago. It's about 5:30, I'm very tired. As part of my review cutting process, I like to get out of the city and go find a nice spot with some beautiful scenery. I don't know if I've got the energy to do that today, but also, excuse the thing on my nose. I had a big old pimple right there the other day, right on the end of my nose. Looked like a freaking laser pointer. Popped it, and it has proceeded to just look ugly all week. It's a shame. Anyways,
love the Camillus Rain, absolutely love it. In fact, I love it so much that after I got off work today, I was carrying this around. I was like, oh, you know, I'm enjoying this knife. I should go do the review cutting. And on my way to get out of town, I passed Tractor Supply, and I got another one. Now, this is very rare. I rarely collect more than one of the same model of a knife. By the way, this blade shape is excellent for putting that tip right where you need it to be. Anyways, I very rarely collect multiples or duplicates of a model. You know, I have to really like a model for me to get multiple versions, and even then, the versions have to be very different. Like, you know, I'll never have two of a knife that are exactly the same. I either need to get them in different colors or different blade shapes. But this knife here I like so much, and it's a cheap knife. It's such a cheap knife that I figure, you know what, why not? Also, I gotta say, one thing I don't like about opening Camillus knives is as I've been stabbing into this and dragging down, I hit that paperwork. You see that right in there? And that's hard to cut around that, but yeah, there we go. There we go. Freedom from his little prison. Get said propaganda paperwork out of there. Yay! I've got two! Let's see how good this one feels right out of the package. Lockup is that about the same? Let's see here. Lockup's a little bit earlier on this one. Probably about, I don't know, 20-30%, something like that. I say as I spit all over it. Get that off of the... That's one thing I'll be able to tell these apart. This one has some wear on the clip. This one does not as of yet. It's got paper particles all over it. All right, let's see about that action. Yep. Ooh, perfectly centered. My original is off ever so slightly, just the tiniest bit, like not even really enough to notice. All right, let's see what the action's like. I tell you what, that CUDA system, it's so simple, but it's so good. Oh, that is smooth. The reverse flick feels a little bit better on this one. Bump flick's nice. Maybe I've just gotten so used to it. Oh man, and the ergos on this knife, oh gosh. You guys are probably watching the review right now, so I'm not going to take so much time, but this is a seriously, ridiculously, amazingly good knife for $15. This is fantastic. Hey guys, today's cutting footage comes to you from the banks of the beautiful Rio Grande. You know what's not beautiful though? This. You see that? It's despicable. That kind of degeneracy just pisses me off to no end. I cannot tell you. It absolutely saddens and sickens me. I mean, you know, we've got canned goods here. This was probably a homeless person encampment at one point. And as someone who used to be homeless a year ago, actually, I mean, I get it, the need to survive. Well, not to that extent. I wasn't homeless for that long. So I can't claim to know exactly what this person was going through. But still, you know, it's sad. I don't like litter, plastics, and... Anyways, speaking of the Rio Grande, let's actually give a quick little, cool little geology lesson and kind of a talk about the local geography here. The Rio Grande River is the fourth longest river in North America at 1,896 miles. And it's always been a very important river, both naturally and politically and on a human scale. For one, it forms a border between the United States and Mexico, and it has always been a source of settlement for early peoples in the Americas, as well as people during the Spanish colonization and up until the modern day. The Rio Grande River flows through a lot of really fertile valleys and some of the best growing country in the entire United States, or specifically the Southwest, I guess, making it very, very important. The watersheds and just the amount of water that's provided from this river is absolutely
vital to a lot of the life here in New Mexico. One thing to emphasize is that the current flow of the river, and actually its size too, was not established until pretty recently in geologic time. We're talking 6 to 4 million years ago. Before that, the Rio Grande was much smaller and honestly probably made up of a lot of different river systems that just kind of drained and emptied into contained basins and playa type areas. Like most rivers, the Rio Grande has changed course constantly over the course of geologic time. In fact, let's go over here for a second. Those mountains out there, those are the Donianas. If we go over here, those mountains are the Organs. Now the Rio Grande actually used to flow on the other side of where the Organs are now, out kind of near the Tularosa Basin, things like that. But as the Rio Grande Rift was opening, it kind of changed the direction the river flowed quite a bit. There's a lot of things that went into the history of the Rio Grande that we can't get into here. Right now, it sits kind of at the base, at least in southern New Mexico, of the Robledos here, and it fills kind of the Mesilla Valley and follows pretty much the duration of the Rio Grande Rift, which is a very important tectonic feature in New Mexico. In fact, the Robledos were formed by the rifting. These are all Paleozoic rocks, and you can see on this side of the rift downfaulting that goes this way. And you can see the same thing on the other side of the rift going that way. As the land is opening up, you're seeing these horse and graben systems kind of open up along either side. And the river, of course, started to follow that pathway as this side was uplifted and this side was uplifted. The water started carving its way this way. You may remember, if you follow me on Instagram, a while back I posted that I'd gone to the Great Sand Dunes near Alamosa, Colorado. Interestingly enough, those sand dunes, in fact, the whole kind of San Luis Valley used to be under a huge lake called Lake Alamosa. And this lake was quite extensive, but eventually something happened and it started to drain. And a lot of that water went into the Rio Grande. And a lot of that water carved the Rio Grande Gorge, which I've shown several times in shorts and things. It's a beautiful feature if you're ever in northern New Mexico. It's a must-see. A lot of that water rushing from that lake, going over the Taos Plateau, which for a long time, the volcanism of the Taos Plateau had kind of dammed up the river. And that might be one of the things that was keeping Lake Alamosa where it was. But something happened, it started draining, it overflowed, and the Rio Grande River cut its way through, the serviette of basalt that the Taos Plateau is mostly made of. And then, of course, the river would start following the natural contours of the rift. Some of the famous geologic formations laid down by the Rio Grande, kind of figuring out where it belongs in the landscape, include the Santa Fe Group, the Popotosa Formation, and these are important young sedimentary layers that show how the river was migrating. Like I said, it has moved quite a bit laterally through geologic time. And we can see Popotosa Formation sediments hundreds of miles away from each other, right? Because the river has changed course so often. And not just the river, but the source of its water. The sediments are being eroded. The source, mountains, were changing, right? Some things got wore down, things changed throughout the rift, and we can see that reflected in not just the location of the sediments, but the type of sediments being deposited. Alrighty guys, I'm sorry about the tangent, but I get excited, especially since I've been at work all day. Coming out here, I love all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of things I could go into with the Rio Grande River. It's so important culturally, geologically, geographically, geopolitically. It's a very, very important feature of the Southwest, but I'm not going to go into all of it here. And I probably got a couple of details wrong that I told you guys, that off the top of my head, I might have mixed some things up, but that's the gist of it. And one thing I love about the Rio Grande is, all of its tributaries that come in here, a lot of them I feel connected to. I feel connected to the Rio Grande, right? When I'm back home, the Rio Grande is there. When I come south, the Rio Grande is here. The rift has played a huge role in
in my life, right? Most of my teenage and adult life has revolved around the Rio Grande Rift, right? The landscapes formed by the rift, the agriculture that's available because of the river, because of the rift. So it's something that's very important to me. When I work in the mountains, there's several small rivers that I constantly see. And I love the idea of, you know, for example, some of these rivers, the Vallecitos, the Ojo Caliente, they flow into, you know, the Vallecitos flows into the Ojo Caliente. Ojo Caliente flows into the Rio Chama. The Chama flows into the Rio Grande. And all that water from north ends up down here, just like me, right? And so right now, I'm looking at this water. A lot of that came from my home country, right? My hometown. And to me, that's really cool. It might not mean a whole lot to anyone else, but for me, I like that connection. I like that sense of connectivity. You know, everything comes full circle. We're all connected. And I love that a lot. It's also nice because the river does go dry down here when they, you know, they got to use a lot of the river for agriculture. In fact, right across from the road for me right now are some pecan orchards, which, you know, are really awesome. We also have to send a lot of that water to Tejas. But anyways, yeah, I just love seeing the river run. It's really, really nice. It's never, ever dry up north. It's always running up there, and I love it. And it's quite a different river up there than it is here. Here, you know, it's wider, it's slower moving. Up north, you know, it's going through canyons, it's a little more confined, it's rushing and roaring, it's got rapids. In fact, this year alone, I think 6 people died on the rapids. You know, up there it's also cold, and down here it's pretty warm. But all right, enough of that. I love the Rio Grande, but you know what else I love? I love knives. And today we're talking about a knife that I really, really love, the Camillus Rain. This thing is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to try to get the review for this posted as soon as I can because, guys, I want you to go and buy this knife. I'm going to say that right now. I want you guys to buy this knife. I want you guys to experience it. You won't regret it, I promise. I also just realized I don't have any of my cutting material, so let me go grab those. Alrighty, let's go ahead and start talking about this knife. Let's start with the action. Very interesting. One of the most unique features about this knife is this CUDA opening mechanism, and I will tell you right now, it is so satisfying. I don't know what it is, but it's amazingly satisfying. The detent on this knife is pretty light. You can thumb flick it off of that hole, but the detent is a little bit light. If you can get it just right, you can reverse flick it as well. But when you use this big old button on the side of the knife, that CUDA mechanism, it rockets out. It feels so good. It feels assisted. I don't know why, but that's just a perfect amount of leverage. I love it. Absolutely love it. It is running on bearings. Very smooth on the close. We're about to get some wind and maybe some rain too. Might not be smart to be by a river. But, yeah, fantastic action there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and talk about the ergonomics. Also, I promise I didn't, like, wear all black today to be edgy. It just worked out. I mean, black knife, black clothes. Cool, right? No. Let's talk about the ergonomics. This knife is extremely comfortable in hand. You can choke up in here. It just feels really nice. The pocket clip doesn't bother me. The ergonomic lines just work out perfectly for my hand. It's not a fat knife, but it's definitely got some girth to it. And it feels really, really nice. The scales are plastic, but I'll be honest with you, they feel like G10. If you told me this was G10, I'd believe you. It feels really, really nice. Really love the pattern on those scales. Just works out really, really well. How does it carry? Well, it's not a particularly large knife. Again, it's not super fat. The clip is perfect. Look at that. Flat screws, recessed clip. Camillus has their clips nailed. And, I mean, look at that. They don't ramp this up crazy. It works. It's a great clip. Let's go ahead and get down to the crotch cam. Goes in all the way. Comes out nice and easy. it's a great clip. I absolutely love it. All right, let's go ahead and get to the cutting. We are working with a spear point sheepsfoot blade, 420 steel, nothing amazing, but hey, it's a $15 knife. Let's go ahead and grab our Blade HQ box here. Whoa! My aim was not very good there. I went really wonky, but that tip the blade shape allows you to get to the tip really, really easily. Hollow grind, it gets down to a decently thin edge, honestly. This is pretty good geometry. Yeah, very, very useful blade shape. I like it a lot. It's a very cool blade shape. Very useful, very, very useful. Pick up all this trash. All right, get our rope out. There's the end right there. Very, very nice. See how it does right here. All right, yeah, perfectly fine. Didn't get all the way through, but it's a fairly thin blade with a thin hollow grind. It actually did pretty well for a blade with that kind of geometry, as you guys know from previous tests. All right, let's get this big old boy out here and let's... Whoa. All right, so... we were able to get pretty thin there, but we did catch, I think that was on the choil area, maybe. We went a little bit wonky here. Couldn't go quite that thin on that cut. There might be a little bit of unevenness here, but I think you could probably, fix it with sharpening. Other than that, it felt good going through the pool noodle. It wasn't, I wouldn't call it a laser beam, but it was good, right? And again, $15 knife, and I'm sure I can fix that that edge up with, not a whole lot of profiling. So, very, very cool. Absolutely love this knife, and I'm very, very excited to review it for you guys. So, with that out of the way, let's get back to the table, talk about this thing.
And we're back. This desk is also quite a bit longer than desks I've had in the past, so I don't know, I feel like my set has opened up a lot, but I'm also like stretching my arms way the heck out here. Maybe this will work better. I'm thinking about putting up a poster or something just to, I don't know, add something back there, but I'm not sure if that'll interfere with the ability to zoom in for close detail. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Again, we're learning together. We're experimenting together. We'll see what happens. But here is our Camillus Rain. And as you saw, I did actually purchase 2 of these because I love them so much. Spoiler alert. Right? Spoiler alert, I guess. But let's go ahead and start talking about what I'm liking and what I'm not liking. First of all, I think this is a good-looking knife. It kind of reminds me of like a stealth vehicle. Very cool, it's all black, which is something I've been gravitating to a lot recently. I never was the biggest fan of black on black, but now it's something that I'm really attracted to. I'm really gravitating towards a lot of murdered out knives. I said in the past, I think the most boring combination for a knife is like a satin blade with a black handle. So I always enjoyed a black blade with black handle more than that, but yeah, recently it's been something that I've actually really, really enjoyed. So there we go. Again, the strop point blade, spear point blade looks really good. The handle looks nice. I think everything here just comes together nicely. They've got the little dagger on the clip, which is a small detail, but it's one that I like. Next thing, let's talk about this handle. Focus up, camera. Focus up. There we go. So this is Gfn, right? It's plastic. But I gotta say, the way they've done this, it feels really good. It feels almost like G10. You know, they've kind of chamfered off all these edges here really nicely, which I always appreciate, and they gave it this peel ply texture. It's, you know, fairly robust. The shape of the handle, the overall ergonomic lines are fantastic. This really, really fits in my hand nicely. Very comfortable. Honestly, like very, very comfortable. I don't know how to say that. If I was rating this on a scale of 1 to 10 of comfort, this would probably be an 8. It's very comfortable for me. My hand fits in this perfectly. But yeah, the GRN feels like G10 to me. The knife is hand filling. It's very comfortable. You can choke up here, so the ergonomics are just very, very nice. The clip, I can feel it a little bit, but it does not bother me. And let's get onto that clip. Camillus does fantastic clips. Look at that. That's exactly what you want to see in your pocket clip. What is going on with my camera focusing today? There we go. It's recessed into the scales, and it has flat screws. It's awesome. It's really, really good. I love to see that. The clip works amazingly in and out of the pocket, and because it's a little bit of a wider clip and it doesn't shoot up very extremely down here, it feels really, really nice in the hand. So Camillus does fantastic clips. In fact, they do some of the better clips in the knife game right now. I will stand by that. Next thing I like is this blade. This is a very useful blade. Hollow grind, decently thin behind the edge. Decently thin behind the edge. 420 steel. Nothing amazing, but it's fine, especially at the price point. And so Camillus, they brag a lot about their titanium nitride coating or bonding. I'm not sure what they call it. I've done some research. As far as I can tell, that doesn't like improve the toughness of the steel itself or the edge retention. Really, what it does is it makes the surface more resistant to scratching, as far as I can tell, and of course adds a little bit of stainlessness. So, you know, that's cool. But yeah, the blade itself, it's a steel that's going to perform very basically, but it's going to be very easy to sharpen, very easy to maintain. You know, nothing amazing. The shape of the blade, however, is fantastic. This is a great blade. You got a little bit of belly, a little bit of straight. The tip is low, so you can get to it for your utility cuts. This is honestly my favorite kind of blade shape for just basic EDC. A very, very well-rounded blade. Very, very useful. Alrighty, let's talk about the action. So access to the liner is very good. They give you plenty of access there. It's easy to get to. As you can see here, I can flip or flick this knife out using that thumb hole. It's a little bit small, you know, so it's going to take a little bit of skill. You can reverse flick it. I will say this is the second one I bought. This is the original one. The detent on this one is a little bit lighter. Just a little bit, so, you know, sometimes it's, you know, you just end up doing this, but once you get used to it, it flicks out really, really nicely. Detent on this one is ever so slightly stronger. As you can see on the close, very smooth. These are running on bearings. Very, very nice. Oh, and perfectly centered, by the way. But one of the coolest things about this knife is this button here. This is Camillus's CUDA opening mechanism, and I love it. It's very simple. It's just a thumb stud, but instead of being right here on the blade, it goes through the scales and attaches to the blade in there. And the positioning of it allows you to get incredible leverage. This thing is fantastic. Ouch. This thing is fantastic. It makes the knife feel like it's assisted. Again, just a regular liner lock, so you still get a detent, and this is not locking the knife open. This is just to open it. And is this something that necessarily anyone needed? I don't know, but I think it's a lot of fun, and honestly, it works very, very well. I'm impressed with it. I thought it would be kind of goofy system. I saw, you know, the Camillus CUDA for years and years, and I never really was super interested, but I saw this knife. I decided to pick it up, and I'm glad I did, because that is a very fun mechanism. It's way more way more useful and entertaining than I anticipated. And it makes this knife very easy to use with gloves. That's a very easy stud to hit. It's got good texturing on it. It's nice and big. So yeah. And with gloves too, it's very easy to slow roll with that thing, which I appreciate. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get on to some negatives. Number one, I do think they could have done this hole better. If they made that a little bit bigger, it would have been easier to get to. I can still get to it though. You know, I can still use it perfectly fine, so it's not a huge deal, but, you know, I think some people that have, you know, bigger, chubbier fingers than me would probably struggle with that. Also, I kept trying to front flip off this thing, but it doesn't work. It might work if there's jimping, which you guys know me, I love jimping. I wish there's jimping here along the spine. There isn't, that's okay. T6 hardware, I'm not going to trash them too much on that because, again, you know, it's a budget knife. But it is minimal hardware, which I like. One thing about the screw I am going to knock them on is that this is a free spinning pivot. And you can't get to the other side of the pivot here because of the CUDA mechanism. And so adjusting this knife is very, very hard. I'm not even sure if you can take, yeah, I think you can take this off actually now that I think I'm unscrewing it right now. Yeah, okay. Okay, so yeah, you can take that off and get the knife like that, if you really need to. Still, I mean, free spinning pivots aren't amazing, but actually that, you know, it's not blocked off to you. There's they give you access, so okay, that's nice. I do wish the pocket clip was reversible, but the CUDA mechanism is not very lefty friendly. I tried reverse flicking it left-handed, and I shit. I couldn't get the right angle, and it was always disastrous, as you just saw there. Maybe someone who is an actual lefty would be able to operate that better than me. In fact, I'm sure they could, but I'm not sure this would be the most lefty-friendly thing out there. Next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm not sure where you can get these. I have only ever seen them at Tractor Supply. That's where I got both of mine, and I went looking online. I couldn't find them anywhere except Tractor Supply again. And here's what I found the the description on Tractor Supply's website to be pretty humorous, so I'm going to read it to you. The Camillus Rain 7.5-inch folding knife features a robust Gfn handle and stainless steel blade. Gfn handles are impervious to moisture or liquid and boast great stability under rapidly shifting environmental conditions. That last sentence there, rapidly shifting environmental conditions, that reminds me of a presentation I did last semester on the effects of the Laramide orogeny on North American dinosaur populations, and how as these mountain ranges are being built, you know, it's changing the flow of water on the continent, and it's changing elevation of different areas. Places are getting more arid, some places are getting a little bit wetter. And this is forcing dinosaur populations to migrate around different places and to evolve into some different forms between the north and the south. But yeah, I think I used verbatim the phrase rapidly shifting environmental conditions. I think I said rapidly changing. What does that mean for a pocket knife? I have no idea. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't know what the rapidly shifting environmental conditions would affect for a pocket knife. I guess maybe if I'm like, I don't know, I'm in the Amazon in the morning, bushwhacking through the jungle, and then I get on a plane and fly to the Altiplano Plateau to be in the desert. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Impervious to moisture or liquid. I mean, I guess that's true, right? That is true. That's a true statement. If I drop some water on here, it's not much is going to happen. But honestly, really the only handle materials that are affected by that is like untreated wood. So again, it feels like a weird thing to highlight. To enhance the innate strengths of the 420 stainless steel. And yeah, I know, some steel snobs would argue about the innate strength of 420 stainless. We bond it with titanium. This bonding process creates an added layer of resistance against rust and corrosion and makes the blade up to three times harder than untreated steel. And that's what I was talking about. Yes, obviously a coating or this bonding is going to protect against rust, But making the blade 3 times harder than untreated steel, I don't think that correlates to edge retention or toughness in any way. I think that's just the ability for the surface finish of the steel to resist scratches, which, you know, with a coated blade, I'm not sure how much that works, but that's what I got from some of my research that I did by myself. The added hardness also ensures the blade holds its edge even longer. I don't think that's true. Featuring a CUDA opening mechanism as well, the Brain is a well-rounded choice for any task. I agree with that. This is a very well-rounded knife. But yeah, I couldn't find these anywhere that weren't Tractor Supply. So if you want one, either go to your local Tractor Supply and see if they have them, or go online and you can buy them there. Let's go ahead and go to my final conclusions. Final conclusions, I love this knife. I absolutely love this knife. It's no secret that I love Camillus knives. I think the value they offer for the price is ridiculous and unrivaled. By the way, this is a $15 knife. $15. At $15, all of my nitpicks start to feel kind of frivolous, and all of the great things about this knife feel even better. I cannot believe Camillus does this for $15. It's magical, right? And the thing that I kept thinking about while I was carrying this knife was, man, if this was in like G10 and 14C, aluminum and 14C or something, I could see this being an incredibly popular knife. And so I really, really doubt anyone from Camillus is watching, but Camillus, look, I'm your biggest fan. You know what? I will self-claim myself to be. I will proclaim myself to be the biggest Camillus fan on the planet right now. Okay, you can argue with me, you can fight with me. You know what? I don't care. I'm him. I'm the biggest Camillus fan. And as the biggest Camillus fan, I'm imploring you, Camillus, give us a version of this knife with upgrade materials. Not premium necessarily, just, I mean, heck, if you could make a $40 version of this with like aluminum or G10 and 14C or something, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I don't know if Camillus has the attention from the knife community that would warrant doing something like that, you know, because honestly, look around YouTube. Look at the channels that are reviewing Camillus knives. It's all like me, small channels, right? And, you know, I think, honestly, you know what? I'm hatching a harebrained scheme. I think I'm going to send one of these to Metal Complex. I'm going to send one of these to Metal Complex. I'm going to see what he thinks about it. You know what? I'll send him an email right after this, and I'll say, hey, I've got something to send you. I think this deserves more attention. And you know what? Maybe we'll make that happen. In fact, now that I've said it on camera, I've committed myself to it. I'm gonna make it happen. I love this knife. I think this is a very fun knife. It's a very useful knife. It's a great design. Everything that it needs to do as far as a knife, as a tool needs to do, it does. Good ergos, a good blade. The blade and the ergonomics complement each other. The action is good. It's easy to open. It's easy to close. The lockup is solid. It's very safe. But it goes a little bit of an extra mile by just adding this little fun bit of innovation. And I think that's fantastic. And all of that for $15. It's really unbeatable. It really is. And I cannot recommend this knife enough. Definitely, if you get an opportunity, go and get one of these. And please, Camillus, please make some upgraded versions, because I love these ones. I carry these. I will keep carrying these, but if you make some upgraded versions, oh, I'd be over the moon. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.